Any rest you can get is worth it, and this certainly was. The playoffs are set. Who do the Chiefs get? What's the most likely scenario today? I'm Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome in, friends and neighbors. Thanks for joining us. A day after the playoff field has been set, the Chiefs know a lot more. We're going to go through it for you today. We thank you for making us your first listen. Make another Locked On show your next listen. Very much appreciated. Like, sub, hit the bell on all the platforms everywhere because we're free for you every single day across the planet and around the world. You can get us that much more at 816-357-8781. That is our text line, and you'll get all the notifications there. This is Chris Clark over at KC Chiefs Corner. I'm Ryan Tracy. You can find me at NFL33.com. I just put up a piece on what I think was maybe the least or most short-sighted move in Patriots history. You can check that out. You can get to RGR Football, where we're talking more about the Chiefs, and you can do a lot everywhere that we ask you to join us. We appreciate your effort. We're going to get to what does this divisional round look like? Who's in, who's out? What are we looking for? We'll play a little in and out coming up later of what we're looking for. Before that, we will get to how they start to preparation for the divisional round. Yes, it doesn't have an opponent yet, but there's plenty of scenarios here that we will go over. But we start where it should have started, where it should have ended. A lot of hubbub about this game, and it basically comes down to this. You play all season long in order to be able to take the last week off, and then you take it off. You don't play your top dozen players, and that leads to a blowout. Boo-hoo, doesn't bother me at all, shouldn't bother our fan base, seems to bother the rest of the NFL a whole lot. So what stood out to you most about that?
You know, I think it's kind of crazy. There's absolutely zero reason that the Chiefs should have been playing anybody that they didn't have to. And we've talked about this, I don't know how many times. Reality is you have to play people because you only get 53 roster spots plus 2 call-ups from practice squad. So you're kind of limited as to what you can do. So have to play as many people as you possibly, or have to play a decent number of people that you probably don't want to. But in a way, I think what we saw is they took advantage of what they needed to take advantage of. You got Charles Omenihu snaps. You didn't get him a ton of snaps, but you got him snaps. That's something he needs as he's coming back from his injury still. You're trying to get him as close to possibly 100% and ready to go as he can be for the divisional round. You got DJ Humphrey snaps, a ton of them. That's his first real game action. Yeah, he came in and played and then got injured. Now he went through a full game. And he went through a full game in a tough scenario because he played in Denver where it's high altitude, and he played I don't remember how many snaps they had.
It's 31 pass rush snaps. Yeah. 34 total, I believe.
Okay, a ton of snaps. And so to me, this is exactly what Kansas City needed to do. They took advantage of the situation that they were given. They got the people reps that they wanted to get reps to, and you kind of got an idea as to what some people can do in different roles, which is also valuable. But anybody that's looking at this game and saying that Andy Reid or Steve Spagnuolo or anybody on the Chiefs roster needs to be gone next season, or they need to, figure things out for the playoffs, isn't paying attention to what really happened. You don't go into a game against an opponent that you know extremely well and use stuff that you may end up wanting to use in a couple of weeks in the divisional round. And you definitely don't go out there and play your normal schemes and put more on tape.
Especially when you know you don't want to play your stars. So you weren't going to play with your 3 best players, probably your 8 best players anyway, right? So why give anything away specifically to a team that has a significant chance with their defense beating their first round opponent? It is possible. The Denver Broncos can beat the Bills. So why give the Broncos anything more information-wise than they already have about you? It makes zero sense. And I think the outrage has been honestly really funny for me to watch.
I think part of it also is that the outrage is there because you're looking at fan bases that wanted the Chiefs to actually have a chance to go and beat the Broncos. There are people in Cincinnati that aren't happy that Kansas City did what they did. Guess what? Maybe win some games early in the season.
Right. Yeah, 8 other chances.
Yeah. Anybody that says that Kansas City should have played that any differently than they did, they're not looking out for the best interest of the Chiefs. They're not looking out for the best interest of the Chiefs trying to go for a three-peat, which how many teams in history have had a chance to do, 6 or 7, I think, have had a chance to go for a three-peat. Nobody's done it. I think Kansas City knows exactly what they're doing, and I guarantee you Andy Reid knows exactly what he's doing. This is a situation where you just look at it and you go, okay, we're ready for whoever we end up playing. And I guarantee you they're going to have a really good idea on – I mean, 2 of their opponents are divisional opponents. 2 of their potential opponents, let me be clear, are divisional opponents.
Right.
So they have great information on those already. They've already played Houston. They've already played Pittsburgh. You pretty much have a really good idea. You just did game planning on all the teams you could possibly be playing in 2 weeks.
Every last
so
one.
You have, and you just played Denver again. So, I mean, this is a great situation for them to be in, and Mahomes should be as close to 100% as possibly can be by the time the next game rolls around. You hope you get Chris Jones back. DJ Humphries, I think, will be able to step in and play left tackle. And while he may not have looked great, it's not just him that is going to be a huge upgrade. Caliendo not being a left guard and Tooney being a left guard would be a huge upgrade. That's not a shot at Caliendo. It's just he's not Joe
Tooney. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
And Allegretti wasn't Joe Tooney last year, but Allegretti played better than what Caliendo has shown so far. So
fair.
There is that.
Yeah, there is. And the whole point is that not only did you do that, but you were able to rotate, get a lot of younger guys, backup guys, more reps. So even if you had to play, you didn't have to put everything out there. I was really happy from what I saw, and I want to double check it before I quote it incorrectly. But from what I saw, it was, 0 reps for Xavier Worthy, which makes me very happy, at least targets-wise. I can double check all the actual snap counts, but I didn't see him out there. Maybe I missed it, but no, it doesn't look like he got a single snap, which is great. And I think for the rookie, the guy that has been, I think you've been trying to feed the last few weeks, to let him have the rest too, with the rest of the starters, and really let that sink in. I think it prepares him for the next week, no matter who that is. But who that is going to be the question. So what are the scenarios? What's the likelihood? We're going to get to that coming up next. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has daily fantasy sports and makes it accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. Run your game all season long at Prize Picks. They make it simple, and they even invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So sign up today and you can get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. You don't even have to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the Game Time app and use our code LOCKEDONNFL, and you're going to get $50 instantly after you play a $5 lineup. Super simple. Download that app, use our code LOCKEDONNFL, and get that $50 bonus for playing a $5 lineup. Super easy over at Prize Picks. Folks, make sure you get out to KC Chiefs Corner, RGR Football, as well as NFL 33 for the rest of our coverage. And very soon you'll start seeing and wanting to get into the athletic metrics over at rogatebc.com. So check that out as well. The divisional round is a ways off. How do they go about this? Well, it's going to be a lighter practice week this week. They'll have a couple of extra days off to literally be off of their feet. And for those who don't really know the rigors, just being off of your feet, on the couch, in bed, extra sleep, extra rest, extra elevation of your limbs. For the offensive lineman, I think Patrick's Christmas present them really gave it away, like a compression sleeves for your lower body. It all goes towards the rejuvenation. So a couple of extra days can go a very long way. Obviously, they'll then start to game plan for everybody.
Yeah, and the nice thing is I mean, I'm sure that they're going to still work out. I'm sure they're probably going to run. I'm sure they're going to lift, do those types of things. But you're not going through football like you normally would. And I'm sure they're probably going to do maybe a 10-10-10, maybe a shells. I don't think they're going to get into any hitting this week. But the big thing is you look at it, and they had their bye week 6. That's a long time to play. It was so huge to get the first round bye, because now you get a chance to have a second bye week and get as many people as you possibly can. And really almost a third bye week with some of the people not even basically playing. So now you're in a situation where you should be fully rested. Is there a little bit of concern from people that they will be too rested and not on point? Yeah, that's out there, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. The guys that didn't play against the Denver Broncos don't need an extra game of reps and time. Even some of the guys that did play against the Broncos didn't need that extra time, but you can only rest so many. So,
and that's the way that it goes. And when you look ahead to the schedule of what this wild card weekend is going to be, yes, they're going to have to do a whole lot of scouting. The pro personnel departments in every team, especially the Chiefs, as well as the number one seed on the other side, the Lions, they're scouting all of these 6 teams in case there's an upset, et cetera, right? What will happen? The lowest seed will then get reseeded and the Chiefs will face them. So should the Broncos win, you're going to see the Broncos right back in there. If they lose, but the Chargers win, they're likely going to be the Chiefs' next opponent. So the thing that I do like is that both of these AFC West teams have a chance to beat up on somebody that the Chiefs could face later on. That certainly works. I actually like the schedule too, and not to get a tinfoil hat, but I want your impression of this. People are going to say that this sets up for the Chiefs as well, and I'm trying to head it off now. The AFC is going first on Wild Card Weekend. So Saturday is going to be Chargers, Texans, and Steelers, Ravens. Then the early game that the Chiefs will care about on Sunday will be Bills, Broncos. And then followed by the NFC games later on Sunday. So the Chiefs will know at least what some of the possibilities are an extra day early. And people are going to say that it's a conspiracy. I just think that that's the way it worked out, and I'll take it. Yeah,
and I mean, conspiracy. People are going to say anything is a conspiracy at this point. I mean, that's just the reality of things. So you do what you do, and Kansas City is going to prep, and they're going to watch. And here's the great thing. I guarantee you, Matt, and I can't remember if Matt said this on the show or if it was something he said before or after the show yesterday. The guys that were not playing yesterday are guys that would have been, are going to be in the building, 5 or 6 days this week, regardless. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't have to worry about it. Either the guys that weren't playing, they're going to show up, they're going to do their job, they're going to prep, and they're going to do a lot of study. They may be off their feet, they may be relaxing, but it's going to be doing study time, getting ready for any opponent they could be playing. So to me, this team knows where they are, and the leadership that they have and the ability to continue to move on and get ready for the divisional round is huge. And I'm looking forward to seeing who they play. I mean, it's going to be, we won't know until Sunday. We'll come out, we'll do a show probably Sunday around 4, 5, 6 maybe, but we'll know at that point who they're going to play, but we're not going to know until then, and that's fine.
Yeah, it'll work. I'm perfectly comfortable with that, because as they get ready, they start to focus in on what they want to do. We've complained about it. We've talked about it all season long. And I know the fan base, especially if you are watching this week, folks, thank you very much. I know it's difficult to stay focused on the Chiefs, but we're going to be here for you all 5 days. So
and
don't
stay
forget
warm
that.
if you're in the area. Just
Yeah. It feels like Colorado and Kansas right now, right? And Missouri too. So, definitely keep yourselves toasty. But the interesting thing is that the preparation that has gone into this phase, and I hate to call it real football, but the regular season is just phase 1 of any season for this team. They know they have to get through that. It is the marathon, not the sprint. Now, this is starting to be the warm-ups. Phase 2 of any season for the Kansas City Chiefs is the playoff run. Phase 3 will be the Super Bowl itself. That's how they think about these things, and mark things off. All that stuff that we've complained about them not doing, or they didn't have this, or they didn't run this wrinkle, now it starts to come out. Now these are games that they have to pull a little bit more from the playbook bag. Santa Reid has to go in there and pull a couple of new tricks out, and I know that he will. And that's probably the thing that I'm most anticipating.
It's funny you mentioned Santa Reid, because it was great seeing him after the Christmas game. In the locker room, he came in as Santa Reid. That was awesome. And the players absolutely loved it. And they should. I mean, Andy is such a great coach for so many reasons, but the players love him, and they've loved him for years because he connects with them. He lets them be themselves for the most part. Don't get me wrong. He pulls them back at times. But, I mean, you've seen Mahomes get, yell at him. You've seen lots of different players do different things. And he understands, this is how I'm going to coach. This is what I'm going to do. But you're absolutely right. He's going to have to go in his bag of tricks. But I also guarantee you this. He's had a bag of tricks that he's been waiting to use since August. And I'm not talking about just the normal tricks. I'm talking about all the stuff he put in the playbook for Hollywood Brown to be able to do all season long that he wasn't able to use. And now you have a guy in DeAndre Hopkins who can do just about what Rice can physically, and sometimes even more to an extent.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're talking about. Obviously, he doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have some of the stuff that Rice can do because of the age, and I get that. But he brings a different skill set, and he can do things a little bit better than Rice can in other areas, and I think that's important and valuable as well. And then you add in, you got Juju here, you got Justin Watson here. It sounds like McCole Hartman could be back for the playoffs. Travis Kelce, and that they've been using Noah Gray more. Your boy Hendershot got some snaps and some time. I do think that this is going to be very difficult for any team that wants to come and face this team. And I didn't even mention Xavier Worthy in that list, who had a great rookie season and took a lot more snaps and did a lot more things than we ever thought that he was going to do, because it wasn't thought that he was going to have to be a big cog in this offense. And now that he doesn't have to be a big cog, he can do other things that make him even more of a threat. And the important thing that you see from him is you see stuff that he is starting to learn and starting to see, and he's not doing things a rookie will do. Go back a couple of weeks on the deep ball where he should have caught it but didn't get his feet down. Then a couple of weeks later, he actually comes back for a ball versus staying put. Mm-hmm. It's the small things that you don't necessarily look at on the stat sheet, that you can't see on the stat sheet, that make the difference and can make or break a win in the playoffs.
Yeah. And just the added bonus that now he can be a guy that's under the radar. He's not the primary threats with Hollywood and Nuke out there. So there's a lot he can get done. I think we're going to talk a lot about him this week as we get ready for the run-up. Don't miss the rest of these shows. But I want to ask a couple of questions. I'm sure you have some for me. We're going to play in or out. Who plays, does what in this next coming game, no matter who the opponent is. That's coming up next. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, pretty much anything, even comedy. One of my favorite memories was attending a concert last year. The energy and excitement is absolutely unbelievable, especially if it's Zach Bryan or somebody that you really dig. Right now, Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets to your favorite events, whether it's a new feature, and this one really works, Game Picks. This feature filters out all the fluff. You only get the incredible deals on the great seats that you're looking for. You don't have to waste time searching for thousands of tickets on and off, back and forth. I love this, and I've used it most recently on a comedy show, and we did something over New Year's. It was great. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONNFL. That'll get you $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. I personally am ready for Game Time. I want to get to the point. I love that the draft process has started as well.
I'm glad that's not here yet. I have 3 more games that I want to be talking about for a while.
I do too, but to fill that gap on a bye week when we're like waiting for the opponent, I like getting back to what the top 18 are.
You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to just be reveling in what's going on and watching some playoff football and getting ready for whoever the Chiefs play. And hopefully we're talking about the Chiefs playing football for another month, because even after that Super Bowl, we'll be talking about it for a week, maybe 2 after that. So
yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it.
So we come back to our favorite game, in or out. What should happen, could happen, whatever. Open topics here. We have not told each other what these questions are. We're just going to go through it, and I will get you started. After watching this film, I know there was a couple of hiccups. I know it wasn't always pretty, but you had to get it done. Right now, I feel the best combination is to start DJ Humphries next to Joe Thuney and go with it. Rust and all, I am in on Humphries starting the divisional game. What do you think?
I'm in. And it comes down to 2 things for me. I said this before. DJ Humphries, if he can figure out a way to just play average, Is he going to have bad snaps? Yeah, he's going to have bad snaps. As long as it doesn't crush Patrick and get him injured, then I think we'll be okay. Wanye Morris had bad snaps. So it's not like we're going from average tackle play to below average tackle play if DJ Humphries plays. We were already at below average tackle play, in my opinion. So to me, if he can get to even average, that's a huge step up. But the bigger thing is you solidify the interior offensive line again, and that is the biggest part to me. You have Creed Humphrey playing next to Joe Thuney, and those guys know exactly what each other are going to do. They communicate well. They know exactly how things are going to go, and you're not going to get surprises between them. And the biggest way to pressure a QB is up the middle of a defense. If they can't get pressure up the middle, at least with the way the Chiefs were playing offense, and when you start looking at back at the Pittsburgh game and the Texans game where they were getting the ball out quick, part of it was that they found a way to get the ball out quick. So then you're in a situation where you don't have to worry about your left tackle and your right tackle play as much if they're struggling. So to me, I'm in, because if you can give Mahomes 2 seconds and keep people off of him in the middle of the defense, I think you're going to be set up for anything you really want to do in the playoffs. And with Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins ready to go for the first game, this offense is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I cannot argue with you one bit. All right, what do you got?
That's tough. In or out, do you think that Chris Jones is ready for the divisional round?
I think he will be. I will say I am in 100%, but I wouldn't say that that's as of today. By the time he gets here, yes, absolutely. I'm glad they rested him. I think that was smart. And I think the more rest you can get him now, because the total snaps on the season, the better. And so I do think it's more than just the calf being ready for the divisional round. It's all this rest and taking off that time to get away from that high snap percentage. I think he will be ready for the divisional round.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he should be good to go. And I'm hoping he's going to be as close to 100% as possible for that game. And if he doesn't practice in the week coming up, he's not a guy I worry about. He knows what's on the line. And generally speaking, the thing that actually will encourage me even more is go back and watch the last game, not the Denver game, but the game before that. Look at what the pass rush was able to do without him. That says volumes. If they can figure out a way to get more pass rush with him on the field as well, I think that they're going to be in great shape as a defense.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. Let's see. A little bit early, but they get through this postseason, they get to the Super Bowl, and then there's some questions, right? The highest rated blocker yesterday was Hunter Norzad. I liked what I saw on rewatch. I felt like he had command of what he was trying to do. He communicated well, especially with the non-starters in there. In or out, could you see them starting Hunter Norzad next year at center and allowing Creed to move to guard?
I could see it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to move. The reason being is I don't think that they're going to look at it from that perspective of why would you move an all-pro? Because I think Creed is going to be all-pro this year.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
Why would you move an all-pro just to have Norzad play center? To me, I get the thought process, but I also think, and this is maybe pie in the sky, but I also think that there's a possibility that both the guards are back next year. I honestly think that Thuney wants to be in Kansas City. He's playing at a high level. I wonder if he will do something on his contract. And I guarantee you Trey Smith wants to stay next to his brother. And I'm calling Creed his brother because that's basically how those two are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'm trying to think of alternate scenarios just in case, but that is my preference as well.
Yeah. So in or out, Jaylen Watson returns for the AFC Championship game. I know it's a little past the divisional, but
I'm going to say out because I think he's going to play in the divisional round. I think he'll be ready by then. It feels like they kept it under wraps for a long time, and then boom, they just activate him right away. There was no preamble. There was no like, hey, we're going to start his clock next week or something like that. You know what I mean? It felt like it was, oh, hey, he's ready to get on the field and at least practice. So that makes me feel like he has a shot at the divisional round.
Same with Hartman.
Pretty much. I think even more so, like that was more preamble, right? Like they let us know ahead of time. So it does feel like McColl will be available.
Yeah, and I think the more time that Watson can get before he has to go up against Buffalo or whoever's in the AFC Championship game or even in the Super Bowl, I think that's better. So I would love to be able to see him play in the divisional. And don't get me wrong, the wide receivers you can be facing in the divisional are going to be good wide receivers, but it's still not going to be the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson and whoever, and Zay Flowers and whoever. And who else knows who's going to be in the AFC Championship game. And then the Super Bowl, you're likely going to be seeing the Lions. And that's an extremely tough matchup. So any extra time you can get him in there. I was really kind of surprised that we were in a situation where Steven Nelson didn't get any playing time, and they bring him in thinking that maybe he's going to get some time, but he wasn't activated. They brought up a linebacker instead. So you have to wonder if that's going to be even an option in the postseason, or if he's just there for injury purposes, which if that's the case, so be it.
Yeah. Well, welcome aboard. I think it is break glass right now, and it is injury. Maybe the evaluation of this last game changes that a little bit, but I can't see that it's going to be a ton.
But Watson being there changes it too, because at that point, then you kick everybody back another notch, and you've already got three guys that have been playing a ton in Williams and Johnson and Roland Wallace. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm really curious to see how they go with corners in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the tail of the tape. We're going to get more from Matt on that coming up here midweek after we know a little bit more. We're going to be back with you tomorrow and continue to run down where they are. What can they do? What should we expect? There's a lot of questions out there. We appreciate you guys making us your first listen. Make sure that you check out another Locked On show next, whether it's the Bills or maybe it's the Broncos show or somebody that you're interested in seeing. Go make sure that you check them out. Like, sub, and hit the channel emblems here on this show, and make sure that you check out KC Chiefs Corner, NFL33.com, and RGRfootball.com. We appreciate your time and all of your support. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.